It's time for the Conversation Street Awards 2025. The nominations for them, at least. The time has finally come. Everyone else seems to do their awards way before us, but no, mid-December, I think, is the peak time for launching an awards. People are off work, they're ready to vote. Very, very exciting stuff. Gemma, hello.
Hello.
Hello, excited about the awards?
Yay.
I'm dead excited. Look how excited Gemma's sounding. You're excited too. If you are listening to this, then you can now find our links on social media, on our blog, on everywhere that we post stuff to go and vote for the Conversation Street Awards 2025. That is our 14th Conversation Street Awards. So if you listen to this, it's ready. It's there for you, unless you're maybe hiding out in our house somewhere, in which case, can you please leave us alone, because that's a little bit weird. Gemma, as always at this time of the year when the awards launch, we're going to have a special bonus podcast where we get to talk about all of the nominees, why we picked them, and as best we can, try not to steer anyone in any particular direction, because it's down to them to decide, isn't it?
We're impartial.
Totally impartial, apart from the fact, as usual with the Conversation Street Awards, when the votes come in, we will be taking 1/6 of the vote each.
Yeah,
because
but we don't look
awards.
at what you guys vote for.
No, if you go
Or
and
each
vote now...
Or each other.
No, exactly.
Because that'd be like ganging up.
Totally. We are going to be doing our own votes once the voting is closed, which is going to be around about Christmas time. Haven't decided exactly when yet. We're going to be voting too. Not looking at how you voted, not looking at how each other have voted, and just maybe giving a little extra boost to some of our favourites. But maybe that's the same as you. Hopefully it is for some of them at least. So, if you are new to Conversation Street, you might notice, if you've been onto our votes, that our awards are a little bit different to other people's awards. Ours are the best way, and the most obvious way to do it, of course. But we are voting not for the actors, which is usually what gets celebrated in these awards, but the characters, right?
That's right, because I think, honestly, it's the only sensible way of doing it.
It is. The actors get enough things for themselves anyway. We have the characters behind the actors. Or the actors. Yeah, is that right? We're in front of the actors? I don't even know. But there's also a good deal of storyline awards and moments and things to vote for as well. This is all Corrie. No competition from the likes of Emmerdale, EastEnders, Hollyoaks. This is all for Coronation Street. And yeah, we got awards for all kinds of categories. And the categories have got funny names. They're all northern themed. Which is, well, you'll see when we get there. It's the same old awards we've been doing for the last 14 years. No new ones this year. We occasionally drop in the old new one and then take one out. But we are just ready to get talking about it, Gemma, aren't you?
Yeah, I want to know who we nominated.
Do you remember who we nominated?
No.
We've been kind of mulling this over for weeks, months. I don't know. What do you reckon?
Some categories are really tricky. Some years are tricky. It can be really hard. And sometimes it's obvious and easy and you're like, well, this one's going to win and then we'll put 4 other people in.
Sometimes that happens.
Stories or whatever. I think we all know.
Everyone always gets some votes. I don't think we've ever had a year yet where people have been able to vote and not a single person has voted for one category. So you've all got your favourites. I'm sure there are going to be some where you think, why on earth didn't they vote? Why didn't they nominate so-and-so? And the answer is, because we didn't want to.
Yeah, it's our awards.
It's our awards.
There's loads of awards.
We're graciously letting you vote in them.
Yeah, I mean, other people can start their awards. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal, but we will hopefully be able to get these results to you round about the new year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, with a few thank you messages from cast, if we can get hold of them, because we've been very lucky and been able to get in that for the last few years or so. But you never know. It all depends who you pick and whether they're available to us and amenable to doing such a thing. Right, I've been waffling long enough for this. Gemma, I want you to take the lead with our first award. This is the A-Up Award, which is what we call our Best Newcomer Award. How did you find picking some nominees for the Best Newcomer this year?
Well, we definitely had more possibles than we nominated.
I know, there's some people here that I've seen. There's ones that have been nominated, and the actors have been nominated in other awards that haven't even got a mention here. So, are you quite happy with the 5 that we ended up with?
Of course, I am.
Do you want to give a quick rundown, and then we'll have a little chat about them?
We've got quite a lot of villains in this because Corrie's quite enjoyed doing that.
Well, there's always some new villains every year,
and with Corridale coming up, I wonder if we might end up with an Emmerdale character in some of these for the 2026 awards.
Oh, I wonder.
Technically speaking, Is Corridale a Coronation Street episode?
I think it is. But I don't. I think it's going to be able to be nominated for any best deaths, for example. But I think unless there's a character that does a permanent switch to Weatherfield, they're going to be getting A up next year.
Right, so the nominees for the best newcomer, we've got Evil Becky Swain, back from the dead, Evil Theo Silverton,
they're both just misunderstood.
Evil Lou Michaelis, who's in prison, Evil Ben Driscoll.
Oh, what's he done?
And Evil Maggie Driscoll. They're all
there
wrong.
There are a few morally dubious characters in our A Up Award nominations. I mean, we're sorry, Brody, you didn't get a mention this year. Or did Carla? Was anybody new in Coronation Street? Was anybody nice this year? I don't know.
Ben's all right. Ben has just got...
So far.
The makings of a wronging, isn't he? A little bit.
He's got a bit of a temper.
His temper and how far will he go to keep his mum's secrets?
Well, he doesn't know his mum's secret,
does he?
Once he
finds out, well, there's debate about that as to which child it was that saw.
Is there? I thought it was
deed.
Undeniably Finlay, but I don't know. I guess Corrie will let us know for sure when we want to know. Okay, yeah, Ben and Maggie. We were kind of umming and ahhing over. Should we nominate any Driscolls for this, because they are very, very new. And we haven't really got used and had enough time to know them yet, have we? Or have we? It's been a month and a half, 6 weeks or so, 7 weeks. Is that
we
enough?
Can't not nominate them because they won't be eligible next year, so they've got to be on the list, and they're obviously prominent, and Coronation Street has really been making them the centre of the stories.
Yeah, we've certainly seen a lot of them.
Yeah, and so then we've also got Lou, who's a massive fan favourite. I've really enjoyed her scenes, and she is quite popular on the TikToks and the Instagrams.
I've found Lou to be quite... but the people have got split opinions over her. I've seen some people that absolutely love her, us included. I've seen some people saying I couldn't wait to get her off my screen when she came along. But there's no denying, I'm sorry, there isn't, the charisma that Farrell Hegarty has brought to the role. She is just so bright and bubbly and lively and vivacious. She's a friend in real life of Julia Golding, isn't she, who plays Shona, and they're both quite similar in that way, and absolutely gutted when her time on Coronation Street was cut short, but I still think that she deserves an A Up award. I think that, as I say, she is a bit Marmite. So's Maggie. I've seen lots of people that are really enjoying Maggie, and Corrie, especially since Evelyn has taken a bit of a back seat, has needed a bit of a battle axe character, and she's different to that. I know some people aren't completely convinced about, is she is she believable? I don't know, but I think that as a character I want to find a lot more about. Maggie is definitely up there. I'm very happy whenever Maggie's in a scene, and Ben, he in some ways he's just kind of like he could have been the kind of bland other half to Eva, just Eva's boyfriend, and he's the landlord and that's it. And I think they've done a really good job of building a personality for him. They're making him quite a harsh father to Will, aren't they? He's a bit of a no-nonsense dad, but he's good fun with the punters. There was that scene with, he's taken his side in the Kevin versus Carl debacle already. And I think that Aaron McCusker is a really, really solid actor, and it wouldn't surprise me if he got an awful lot of votes. Becky, Gemma, is this a bit of a controversial addition to our A Up nominations this year?
Probably some people would not like this character, but you cannot deny she's made an incredible impact in a very short space of time, and it's funny because she's probably one of the most anticipated arrivals on Coronation Street before she was even announced to be... nobody, I don't think did they even tell us? No, they didn't.
They didn't say that she was coming. Yeah, more on that later.
That was... I mean, as far as a newcomer goes, what do you want from a new character?
Someone who's going to shake things up, and she has done that. Say what you like about the story, that's not what this is about. But Becky, the chaos that she's brought to the Covels, the bombshell that she's erupted in the middle of this perfect swallow relationship, which has got all the fans' hearts aflutter over the past 18 months or so. She's just brilliant. And Amy Cudden, I absolutely love it. It was a tricky role to take on, and she must have known she was going to get a bit of backlash for it. But I've just found her a lot of fun. So I think she's again another morally dubious character, but I just think that she's
a bit of a crim.
She's great stuff. She's great stuff. And then Theo as well. What was
talk about evil?
Well, as I say,
misunderstood. What?
Conversion therapy, Gemma has done a real number on it.
But just like Becky, he's swooped in and really disrupted the lives of some residents of the street. So do you want to vote for him?
Yeah, I mean, he's a funny one because it took us a long time to warm up to him. Didn't it?
Well, it's sad because just like Joel, I was like, you're kind of dull.
Yeah.
Until you start to do something naughty.
Yeah.
Not that you could say
he
naughty.
was, he was a big
evil.
bicep builder, wasn't he? And everyone was saying, "Oh, look how hunky he is," and there wasn't very much more to him than that. Then you find out, oh, hang on a minute, he's married to a woman. Then you get to learn, you start to see these little seeds of the coercive control in Todd's life. And you think, is this going this way? Is he an arse? Am I supposed to not like him? And then once it started to become clear, yeah, it is going down that route. It's like brilliant. He is somebody I can really love to hate. And James Cartwright in that role has been just superb. There'll be more to come for that story later. So those are our nominations for the AOP Award. I think it's a really tough choice this year. I haven't decided yet who I'm going to vote for.
Me either.
No, this is a tricky one for me.
I really don't know.
I could have reasons for all of them. What have we got next?
Top lad.
Top lad, which is
best male character.
Best male character.
I thought you were going to do this one because I just did the last one.
Oh yeah, you didn't today. I just playing it. I feel like I'm talking a little too much today. Sorry if I'm taking over. Right. Best male character, we'll often we'll kind of look at the dominant stories, won't we, and pluck out some of the characters who have been kind of the leading men in those stories. So Todd Grimshaw was an obvious choice this year. Alongside him, we've got George Shuttleworth, Dev Allahan, Kevin Webster, and David Platt.
David Platt feels like he's always in this category, and maybe Dev too. I don't know. They've both been nominated quite a lot. Considering previously to this year, they've had very quiet story. They haven't had lots of big stories, but this year I do think both of them have. You've got Dev getting married and Ash's storyline, and with David you had the fire, and now you've got the baby.
Yeah, I mean Dev, he's a Conversation Street favourite. We are both massive Dev fans, and I get how compared to some of the other characters on this list, he may not have been as prominent in 2025. If you look at his episode counts, he's definitely not up there. But he got married. He's, like you said, he's been supportive, trying to be supportive to Asha in her mental health storyline, and putting him at the forefront at Ardy's exit as well. He's just always, to me, a really solid, reliable character. As is David. I mean, I don't know, maybe we have to look back over previous years of Conversation Street Award nominations, but there can't be very many years where David hasn't been there, because he's undeniably one of the most popular long-term characters the show has ever had. As far as I'm concerned, he could keep going for another 20 years and he's still going to be there.
Yeah, I agree. Dev, I just would love him so much. I think Jimmy Harkison's brilliant. I really enjoyed the wedding scenes. They were all fantastic, and I think he's definitely another one of these characters that people also don't like. sometimes, but
Oh yeah, some
he makes
people are
me
going to
laugh.
see that we've nominated him and go, what the heck?
We definitely got stick off people for liking Dev. I don't know why though. What people just need to lighten up. He's brilliant.
We likes
He's
what
funny.
we likes.
And we're just talking about people that bring down the mood, like Dev haters. What about Kevin Webster?
Dev, Kev, Dave, they're all kind of similar sounding, aren't they? But yeah,
Kevin is the grouch of Coronation Street. I don't think it would be quite the same without him, but he's a bit of a downer, isn't he? But people like that. Eeyore is very popular in Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh fandom.
Yeah.
I mean, this year has really belonged to Kevin in so many ways.
Yeah.
And I get the feeling that, this has been his first year in a long time that Kevin and the Websters as a whole really have really dominated the street. It wouldn't surprise me. Well, I'm sure Kate Brooks has said it, like, I want there to be a big Websters. I want Websters to be the family of 2025. And, the patriarch of the family, Kevin, is right there in the centre. From his cancer diagnosis, which is pretty miserable, to his wife leaving him, pretty miserable. He's had a bit of a rough year.
Yeah.
And
why can't he just smile?
I'd like to say, but he's come on through it smiling, but he really, really hasn't, has he?
Well, I like Kevin because he is realistic. I think he doesn't react to everything in the best way. He's often stubborn, very grumpy, and a bit selfish. Like you saw recently when he was telling Debbie that he didn't want to go to the wedding because Abby was going to be there and she had to get on her knees and beg and he still said no. Changed his mind eventually, but I do think that sometimes people want soap characters to always be, do the best. Like if they're your favourite, like they always have to be perfect and react to everything perfectly. That's just not how life is, and I prefer, this is why I enjoy soaps, because they let people be a bit more complicated. Don't they?
Yeah.
And speaking of complicated, we've also got Todd.
Oh, Todd. Again, another long-termer. And I don't know whether this is the first year that Gareth Peirce's Todd has been nominated. I forget. As soon as one awards is gone, is over and done with, it's out of my mind.
But I tell you who never forgets.
Who?
The winners.
They never forget.
They cherish those
exactly.
awards.
They
so think of that responsibility
their
when you're
virtual
voting.
award is on their mantelpieces forever. Yeah, Todd Grimshaw. Wow. Gareth Peirce, when he joined Coronation Street, taken over from Bruno, he had really big shoes to fill. And although his version of Todd isn't quite the same as Bruno's was, he's really made the role his own. And this year, it's just been brilliant performance after brilliant performance as we've seen him whittle away that charm and charisma and confidence that he's always exuded under the thumb of horrible, nasty, big bicep Theo. Just this week we've had this brilliant caught on camera behind closed doors episode that we'll be talking about more in this weekend's podcast. And Todd's just been absolutely superb in this. He's such a class actor. And this, I love how 2025 has given him a really meaty story to sink his teeth into and show his acting chops, because I've felt that since he's joined the cast, he's always been a bit of a side character, a side character to Paul's story, a side character to Billy's story. This year has been all about Theo, and I've loved it.
Theo or Todd?
Todd.
Yes, that's right.
Always get those two mixed.
Tell you who wouldn't get them confused. That's George, who's the final nominee for this.
I'm so glad that we ended up rooting for picking George. We were kind of mulling over a few choices, and it just felt like this was the year that George has bubbled up to the surface that deserves a nomination.
From horrible Eileen, and now he's got a new girlfriend. He's really lovely and seems to actually like him.
Yeah,
which is always a good idea when you're picking your girlfriend. And he's really come into his own. I think he's great. I'm really interested to see what his role's going to be in the Todd and Theo storyline. But he hasn't had a massively high profile year.
He's been in quite a few episodes
as being his own storyline.
Supportive character.
Yes, really.
Yeah,
very good. Corey needs these kind of characters, don't they? Yeah.
I just think that we said before when we did his character profile that this split from Eileen could have been, casting him adrift. It could have been the death of him. Like, he's only there to be Eileen's bit on the, bit on her arm, a bit on the side.
Eye candy is what you're thinking of.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But no, they've used it as a springboard to this all new, fantastic, bubbly, funny, warm, just lovely George that we always knew was there. But I was sad to, it's always sad when a couple of characters that I enjoy split up, but this has really been the making of him. And yeah, I hope that 2026 he continues to go from strength to strength and maybe gets his own proper big storyline that's his. But yeah, just adding that little bit of sunshine to the street. George, very well deserving as a fifth nominee in the top lad awards.
Who are you going to pick, everybody?
I don't know who I'm going to pick for that. I seriously
I know, I'm
do
looking
not
at this
know.
list. They're really good choices.
We are
really are.
we do all the hard work of putting the nominations together and all that. You've got the hard work, listeners have been the first to vote. We don't have to vote for another week and a half, 2 weeks.
I really
or
want
so.
to know what happens because we're not even allowed to know. Yeah, we don't look at who's being voted
we
for
don't track
or who's
it.
Winning.
As soon as I press publish, I'm not looking at those results until we have voted ourselves in a few weeks' time.
And then we look and we're like, oh no.
Ooh, we're not really in tune with the listenership there.
Nobody agrees with us.
Top Last Gemma is next, where we're talking about our best female character of 2025, and there's a few obvious picks here, I have to say.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily a done deal on who's going to win.
No, I really don't know. All of these categories so far, I'm like, I don't know who's going to win this because we've got some proper leading ladies in
Who
here.
have we got?
Starting off, we've got Lisa Swain. We've also got Jenny Connor. We've got Carla Connor. We've got Abby Webster. And we've got Debbie Webster. And oh my goodness me, what a list of incredible women here. We couldn't pick between Carla and Lisa. So you do it. That's what we decided. You guys do
We've
it.
made it really difficult for the Sala fans here. Although it's interesting seeing, how the two characters have been reacting over the past few weeks, or acting, to each other over the past few weeks. It feels like people are starting to take sides.
I really
aren't they?
think.
So we'll just have to see whether that's reflected in the votes here, or whether people are going to say no. Let's judge them on the year as a whole.
Just also remember, this is a moment in time of a character and how you feel about them. So, just because you pick somebody now doesn't mean that next year they might not be your favourite. So, with that said, Lisa Swain, what a year she's had.
Well, this has been
Becky.
the year of Carla and Lisa, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk
love it or hate it.
Talk about them both together, shall we? Because they really have been inseparable until
recently, until Becky came along and worked her magic.
So, I can't even remember how Lisa started out the year, what she was getting up to. Because
right at the beginning of the year, Carla was going through her kidney troubles, wasn't she?
Who could
so
forget?
we've had Rob coming back.
The kidnapping, the hostage situation.
Yeah, the flip over the side. It's been a busy year. They've had lots of ups and downs. Lisa's been there mostly as a supportive partner to Carla. She's been through a lot of trauma herself. She's had a tough time at work.
Yeah, she's been a very strong character, but it's all fallen apart since Becky came because all of those emotions that she'd been managing have all reappeared and changed and shifted.
Yeah, and that scene when Becky appears.
Yeah, honestly,
Vicky Myers, what a standout performance that was.
Genuinely incredible performance that was. Really, really.
Yeah.
And then you've also got Carla, and I really was so happy to see her stand up for herself when she moved out and she told Lisa that she wasn't going to accept this anymore. Whether you're a Lisa fan or not, if Lisa's your favourite of the couple, I still think that you have to admire that Corrie put Carla into that kind of power position of saying, I'm not gonna put up with this anymore. Because I think we were all kind of waiting for her to say something and put her foot down because her boundaries had just been so disrespected for so long. And so it's also really interesting to see her teaming up with Kit to try to bring Becky down. I do not know what's going to happen, but I am very excited to find out. Yeah, and also Carla has been a favourite of, I really liked Carla. Then, I kind of went off the boil with her a little bit, but now again, Carla fan, she's one of the most interesting and exciting female characters. She's really
found her fire again in recent months. Yeah. Speaking of Connors, Jenny, this is the last time that we're going to be able to put Jenny as a nominee for anything on these awards, and we've not hid how much of fans we've been of Jenny over the years. So it just didn't feel right to go a year without nominating her. And then, we're not just doing it because we can, but Jenny has been a real highlight of the year for us.
She's had a massive storyline with the exit for Daisy.
Yeah.
Then she had, she's still the landlady of the Rovers up until,
early summer, yeah.
leaving the show. Oh no, yeah,
No,
she quit. Good for her. And I thought she had a really good exit episode, even if it wasn't a proper storyline. And so it's sad to say goodbye to a character that's been really iconic in the podcast.
She's proper old school Corrie, isn't she? And
yeah.
you're right. That there's the stuff with Daisy and the rivalry that resurfaced with Christina has been some of my favourite moments of the year. So we could not nominate her this year. Same with Abby. Abby, this has been, for good and for bad, a year of Abby Webster, hasn't it? And it's a funny one, because if you were to say to me, you know what, Michael, 2025, Abby isn't going to not be off our screens, I'm like, fantastic, brilliant, love Abby, she's one of my favourite characters. Bring it on, exactly. I've not been happy with the direction that they've taken with Abby this year. I can't deny it. I don't like the fact that she's been sneaky. I don't like the fact that she's had an affair with Carl behind Kevin's back. I don't like the fact that she's lost that, heroic streak. She's not been my favourite character this year, but we've still seen some brilliant performances from Abby. And I think as somebody who has dominated so much this year, still with some great performances, like I said, she had to be nominated. She did have that, I suppose, heroic streak with her still in the Mason death episode, didn't she? She was the one that was there over him while he was bleeding out in the
that was
in the
fantastic.
play park.
And then being haunted.
Oh yes, we did have her being haunted by Seb this year.
And I love ghosts. So
God, that was 2025.
Yeah, I mean, she was a major part of one of Corrie's biggest single episodes. So.
Yeah. I think that they're going to have to do a lot of work to put her back into my favour.
Who cares about that? Why do you think they should
This is not gonna go forever, her and Carl.
Oh, you've got to watch out, Michael's mad at you.
I love Abby, but yeah, come on, Corrie, 2026. Let's get her. I don't know what I want. Do I want her to get back with Kevin? Not necessarily, but
I tell you who could never disappoint me.
Who?
Debbie Webster.
I
don't think that she could ever do anything wrong. I love her so much.
I don't think she could.
I want to put
amazing.
her in my bag and take her everywhere I go.
I mean, talking about characters...
Look at her beautiful smile.
Talking about characters who have been, not off the boil, but just out of the spotlight for so long.
Yeah.
Debbie was never anywhere near the top 10 in character appearances. She would be like, oh, it's a Debbie episode. This is good. She's made a little appearance. She's fantastic. She is. Well, see her again in 3 weeks if we're lucky. But this has been, Debbie has been all over 2025 for tragic reasons. This dementia storyline, which, has now been, it was first rumoured over a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we've still got the same Debbie as we had back then. She's had the odd flicker of memory loss moments, but what makes her an ultimate Corrie fabulous icon is still alive and kicking.
She's so joyful.
Yeah.
And she's so fun and individual as well. There's nobody else like her.
No.
She the fun-loving businesswoman. I don't think there's ever been a character that you could describe as that in Coronation Street.
No, they're always so sober, aren't they?
And her fashion, her earrings, she is just...
Her flat this year.
Iconic. I love her so much.
Yeah. And she's just a little pocket rocket, isn't she?
Everybody is going to have a favourite on this list because this list has got really good selection.
We've seen the scenes of her being diagnosed with the dementia, coming to terms with it. We've seen the bits of the dementia choir, keeping the secret of Abby and Carl being together, and then just a couple of weeks ago we had that fantastic episode where she did the speech in the hotel, went off with the ladies, painted the town red, as long as it was within the boundaries of the Media City set.
I'd say more orange. I think she's an orange girl.
She is, isn't she?
Loves
orange
the
is her colour
of our podcast. So is there a bit of bias here?
I didn't mean to seem completely biased there. I still don't know completely who I'm voting for, but it's very easy to talk about why Debbie is an obvious pick for a nominee this year.
There is a very good reason to vote for every single one of these nominees here. They are all fantastic characters and have had really big impressive storylines where they've shown great range and great performances.
For sure.
Everybody pick your favourites.
Right, what's up next, Gemma?
Garraway.
Garraway.
It's the best location.
The best... Shoot. The best location shoot. So we introduced the Garraway Award 2 years ago, I'm going to say, as a way of celebrating and trying to gently prod Coronation Street to do more shoots outside of Media City. I know they're expensive. I know the Paps go after them. I know we're never going to go back to the days of 20 years ago where it was just the norm to have multiple location shoots every week. But I want to highlight and celebrate when Corrie actually does it, gets out there, gets into the real world. It just makes it feel so much more realistic and grounded in real life to me. We didn't have lots to choose from this year, but there's still a few that we've had to leave on the on the cutting room floor. Is that the phrase? I don't know. But I'm really happy with the 5 that we've ended up choosing for this, which are Kit and Mick's flashback scenes. Glenda and Co going to Canal Street a couple of months ago. The scene with Lisa, Carla and Becky in the park, Teddy Bear Park, I think they called it, didn't they? Julie's death at the lakeside at Tatton Park. Well, it was filmed at Tatton Park. I don't think it was supposed to be set there. And then Lauren's trial really early in the year as well.
How was Lauren's trial filmed again?
Bolton Town Hall.
Have we been there?
We have not been there.
That's the only one we haven't been to off of this list, I think.
Yeah.
We didn't go to Tatton Park. We went to Tatton Park before this scene.
Yeah, we went there years
with
ago,
Julie
like
was
5 years or
filmed because Coronation Street actually has a history of going to Tatton Park because in the 60s the Corrie cast went there for Elsie and Steve's Stag and Hen Do's.
Yes.
And it was really fantastic to see it come back in 2025. And it's a really tranquil place. There's lots of beautiful grounds there, which is where they filmed. They didn't film it at the house.
Unfortunately, when they filmed it was mid-January, maybe February.
They filmed it in the bleak midwinter.
Not the time when there would be copious floral arrangements on the ground. So
negging it because we're supposed to be giving you why you should.
Sorry, there were lots of plastic flake flowers around, but Julie's death. It was just lovely having the two sisters there, sort of having a nice chat. It was calm, it was peaceful, and then you had the big, oh my gosh, Julie's dead. We weren't expecting her to die already moment. So maybe that's going to get your vote.
Maybe.
Lauren's trial, again, quite early on in the year. So this was, we knew that she had been the one who bumped off Joel at this point. So there were lots of exciting, tense moments there about, is she going to get sent down? What's Max going to say? What's everyone else going to say about her? You had so and so in the gallery, is it called?
Right.
Who the Deerings had paid off to badmouth her in front of the court. So eventually she got away with it. But that was all. Who doesn't love a good Corrie trial? So that's why we picked that one. Yeah.
We got Lisa, Carla, and Becky going to the park, and this was an early Becky's returned from the grave.
Yeah,
scene.
this is like the episode after she came back, I think, wasn't it?
And they were all trying to work out what their feelings were, what was going to happen. Lisa was in turmoil. She was sitting on the memorial bench for Becky's, as a fallen hero of the police. And in the rose garden with Carla there. And it was just a really fascinating sort of character study of those three. And then we had the scenes as well, sort of just around the corner from that. They were filmed when Carla and Lisa were sitting down on the little mini fences there, trying to just come to terms with their feelings. And Becky already there trying to manipulate the way that this relationship would go. Yeah, and we've also got a really really interesting scenes with Glenda and Co going to Canal Street, because you had fun, you had bubbly Glenda.
She was there to promote some vodka, wasn't she?
But you also had a bit of a revelation about Theo's past.
Oh yes,
with his ex-partner.
Yes,
sort of confronting him with his new partner.
Well, this is where you found out that Todd wasn't his first same-sex relationship.
Yeah, and so you knew that he was lying, and if it wasn't already apparent that there was something up with this guy, it was very clear from this. And it was just nice to see an iconic part of Manchester City in Coronation Street, and seeing them all having a nice time.
Yeah, so you had the darkness and the surprise and the twist with the Theo part, but then to counterbalance that, you had everybody having a good time, singing along, dancing. You had the drag queen turn up late, didn't you? Because Glenda has to take over from them as the entertainment for a while.
It was
just
it was
lots
really
and
fun.
lots of fun. Christina was there as well, I think, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I think great, joyous, colourful stuff. And then going back to right at the top of our list, we had the Kit and Mick flashback scenes, which, like I said, last week's flashbacks with Maggie, they didn't seem to push the bat out quite as much as they did for this. But I'm thinking about scenes outside the shop where they're putting the fireworks through the letterbox and then running away, hiding. You had them running down alleyways. You had them kind of hiding out. It was all with these brilliant young cast, these kids that were cast to play young Mick, Lou, and Kit. Really, not everybody likes a flashback format, especially with characters that we don't necessarily know. But it felt as kind of special and fun to me. And again, another real breath of fresh air to get out away from the studio. We got to see a young Bernie as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
Still played by Jane Hazelgrove.
Yeah, it was an interesting idea, and the fact that they went out of the set to film these was added a bit of authenticity, I guess, because it's easy to make it look like it was.
Yeah, all the extra little bits that they put in there to try and add that 2007 feel to it.
So vintage.
The newspaper report about the smoking ban and the FA Cup posters. I think they did a good job with it. So pick whichever one of those you like. Things standing out to you, give it a click. On to the next category, which is the Wrong Award for Best Villain. Oh, Gemma, there's always just seems to be so many villains on Coronation Street. I don't think we've ever had a year where we've been struggling to fill all five, have we?
No, I know. It's bad, Coronation Street. Very naughty bunch of people on that show.
Why can't everybody just get along? Who have we got this year, Gemma, on our Wrong Un category?
Well, the thing to remember also is that it's supposed to be for the whole year, and so when you are voting, I think sometimes it's really tempting to just think about what just happened on the show. And if that's how your brain works, you definitely probably could have voted for Theo.
Poor Leo.
Because
he wishes he was exciting enough to be a villain.
He has just, been unmasked even further with Todd's secret cameras. Oh, I'll have to go through the whole list first.
Go through the list.
Theo is your first choice. Then you can have Becky Swain, Mick Michaelis, Noah Headley, and Carl Webster, the dirty dog. So Theo, I think he's one of the most hated characters at the moment. He is.
Oh, for sure.
Horrible,
he's definitely getting that Jeff energy, isn't he?
Manipulative, violent, sneaky, and Todd's video,
unpredictable.
Yeah, really unpredictable.
You don't know when he's going to be coming in smiling and hugging and giving Todd a present. You don't know when he's suddenly going to turn and say, what did you do there? You ruined things, Todd.
Physically intimidating as well. So, James Cartwright's very big, very buff, got all these muscles, and he uses that when he and Todd were squaring up and sort of going forehead to forehead. It was like really, really scary. He is, and the way his face can go so dark, and he just looks like a psychopath. He's got this really dead stare that he brings out, but also to me, when he's smiling and happy, he's just as scary because you're waiting.
This isn't going to last.
To the shoe to drop. What's he going to do next?
I feel bad for Julie that she died still thinking that Theo was the perfect man for Theo.
I don't, Todd. I think it is.
Told you I kept him.
Good for her that she died before she. It could have got very complicated.
Oh, that would have been I mean, still nobody really knows what's going on here, but that would have been pretty heartbreaking.
Well, nobody does know because of what happened at the hospital and with George and Christina.
They'll see his true colours one of these days. Becky, brilliant villain, nice. Always good to have a female villain on our list. Doesn't happen very often in the Conversation Street Awards, but 100% a villain, and that's become all the more apparent in the last couple of months. Yeah,
I really am waiting to see where she's going to go. Like, how bad can she get? Because at the moment, she is just being sneaky and manipulative.
I mean, she arranged for Costello's accident, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she is. She doesn't mind
Playing dirty.
Well, no, she doesn't mind using violence, but she hasn't got her hands dirty yet. Will she ever do anything bad herself, or has she already? We don't know.
Well, yes, exactly. She's been there to
done that.
She's been there to disrupt the perfect coupling, in many fans' eyes, of Carla and Lisa. And just done a brilliant job of it. And, I've been a staunch Becky supporter since the first day that she appeared. Not because... Well, no, partly because I understand why she's acting the way she is. I think that it's natural that she'd want to get back to the life that she first left. But I'm not going to, bury my head in the sand too much and say, well, she's just this perfect angel. She's clearly getting out some really underhand, devious tactics to try and get her woman back. One of my favourite Becky moments was the spoon drop, when she was letting Carla know
that was
from afar that Lisa wasn't alone in the flat when Carla was away in Ireland.
It was that mischievous, smirk as well, and just her standing around behind things a lot and overhearing stuff. And I also thought that the scene where she was hearing Lisa begging Carla to come back, and she was in tears basically because she was jealous.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
Well, it shows that she's not just a one-dimensional moustache twirler, is she?
Wow.
Mick Michaelis next. Very short time on the street, really, a couple of months.
Yes.
It's funny because Lou and Mick were brought in as this, the new couple for 2025, and barely any months later, and neither of them are on the street anymore. But Mick was another character, a bit like Theo, who I was a little bit about at the time. He's okay, he's a bit of a, he's not the kind of character that I really enjoy. He's a bit of an alpha male, but he was also a bit of a prankster, wasn't he? Like when he was he ringing on George's doorbell at one point and then running away?
Yeah.
Both of them were very, very obnoxious and rubbed the neighbours and many viewers up the wrong way, but it soon became apparent that he wasn't just a bit of a bad lad, cheeky chappy. He was knocking 7 bells out of Lou behind closed doors, and it led to some really raw sort of scenes between those two as a couple. And obviously the biggest Mick moment of the year was, there was two. There was killing Craig, and then his escape from prison, going up on the roof and having it out with Kit. And he was a really, really quite intimidating chap.
Yeah, I think he was. He had a short but sweet stint, didn't he? He created a lot of chaos, killed off a character, and caused mischief and mayhem.
I saw an awful lot of praise for the performance of Mick, and I think a lot of people were really pleasantly surprised with the villainous energy that was given off in those big scenes. And somebody who came in as like, lose other half. He really brought out the big guns when it mattered, which is why we've given him a nomination here. Alongside him, we've got Noah Headley, minor character. So I think it's going to be relying a lot on, if you're really, really invested in the Todd and Theo story as one of your biggies, maybe he'd get a chance there. But I suppose Theo is the main villain of that story. But you might say that the maker of this villain, the progenitor, was Noah.
Yeah, with his involvement in the church and the conversion therapy, and just insisting that being gay is evil, and antagonising Todd and Theo, and then shacking up with Theo's wife.
Yeah,
and then
there was that scene at the was it? I can't remember whether it was couples counselling or what. When
it was the
mediation meeting, and he was sitting there because kind of smiling away.
Yeah, knowing that he was winding them up.
Yeah,
doing it on purpose.
Yeah, but things didn't end too well for him, did they?
No,
and it was a bit of an off-screen death for him. But it
wasn't a bit of an off-screen death.
A total off-screen death for him. But as you might stand out enough. I think it's going to be a tough one for him. But I did want to recognise the performance there and the character in our nominations this year. And then Carl, bloody Carl. Some villains you love to hate. Carl is definitely a hate to hate one for me. How are you feeling about Carl? And he has dominated the year, hasn't he?
I think he's a really fascinating character because he doesn't seem to be doing anything, like, he does everything, he does whatever he wants, basically.
He's a free spirit.
He doesn't care who gets hurt, really. He just, anything he does is, the pure motivation is what's going to make my life easy at this precise moment in time. He doesn't really seem to plan ahead very well. And I kind of like how chaotic he's made his own life, really.
Yeah.
I don't think he's living his best life, is he?
I don't think so. He's just desperately trying to get this money back that he owes these very lenient German sharks who are still not really, breaking any legs considering how much money he's owed them for quite so long.
And he's going to be, obviously, well, he already started stealing off of our lovely Debbie. Well, we can't have that, can we?
He's been stealing from Debbie. He's been okaying cars with dodgy MOTs. Just stealing.
Ran over Tyrone.
He did run over Tyrone, you're right.
And pretended he didn't.
Stealing Abby away from Kevin, breaking up that relationship. And I know not everybody was flying the flag of Team Abev, or whatever their shipping name is. They haven't even got one, have they? Because they're not the most beloved of couples.
Kevby.
But coming in and wrecking that relationship, what an utter wrong un. I think he could have a good chance here. I think there's quite a few here that.
And sneaking around and having an affair with James behind Abby's back.
Yes.
Yes. There's no end to his.
He's been lying to Abby. He's been keeping pretty big secrets from her. What an arse, I'm going to say. So maybe you'll want to vote for him.
Big thumbs down.
Up to you. Big thumbs down to Carl. But maybe thumbs up if you want to vote for him. So, next award, our Kid Award. Gemma, this is for the best young character in Coronation Street. And always got to remember to say this. We're only getting nomination if I'm trying to remember what our own rules are now. If the actor is younger than 18. So this is a bit. I know we said this is a character-led award, but this one you can't win the Our Kid Award if you're played by a 23-year-old. I'm sorry, because that's just not fair. We have got 5 nominees for this, of course, same with all our awards, and they are Millie Silverton, Hope Stape, Joni. Oh, is she Hope Dobbs now? I suppose she's Hope Dobbs, isn't she? Joni Michaelis. Oh God, we've said them both different ways today.
I know. I don't like that surname. I'm sorry.
Liam Connor and Shanice Michaelis. I just kind of blurred the lines of how I say this then. Gemma, any of these kind of particular standouts for you this year? We've got a couple of new characters in Joni and Shanice.
That's right. Joni, who could pick between them? Joni and Shanice is so incredible.
we always forget which one's which name-wise,
right, Joni's the older character.
Joni, yes.
So Joni's the one who bit or kicked or hit Shanice. So
she's been a bit antagonistic. It's funny, these two characters that have been brought in as the Lou and Mick's children. It was funny because at first they would always be mentioned when Lou and Mick came into the show. It's like, you're not going to cast these characters, are you? You can't be bothered. But it turns out they've outlasted their parents by quite an amount. But Joni this year, I think her standout moment for me was on the scenes where Mick escaped and she was up on the rooftop with Sally. And she was absolutely fantastic in that. But we're starting to see... Yeah, she's just a really troubled kid, and it's not surprised with the background that she's come from. But she's struggling to find friends at school. She's a bit miserable. She's been
a bit of an outcast.
Yeah, a bit of an outcast, and she's taken out on her younger sister as well.
Yeah, but, really sad character.
Yeah, sad and complex character. I'm hoping that we get to see a little bit more of her in 2026. And speaking of Shanice, I think
she's a cutie pie.
She's a real cutie. Our little Molly who plays her is a real spark. She's one of these, I can't believe somebody so young has got so much kind of personality and vim and just kind of but I think she's great. We haven't nominated Susie for this award, partly because we've really hardly seen Susie at all, but both of these two characters have got a lot of personality to them, and although you can't put your finger on and many Shanice moments throughout the year, I think that if you just like the energy that little Shanice is bringing to the show, that might be enough to get her a vote for you. I really do love a Shanice scene. Who else have we got? I mean, Hope is she's always there, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, Hope is a great character. She's got a really long, she was born on screen in one of our favourite episodes of all time.
Oh yeah, she's just turned 15, hasn't she?
We've spoken about her the tram crash episode, and she was born on that day. What an auspicious beginning to her time on Coronation Street. Since then, she has got up to a lot of mischief.
Feels like
Perhaps
she's
not so
mellowed
much this
a
year.
bit. Yeah.
Now she's vaping.
Yeah, was she vaping this year or was she vaping last year? I can't remember.
Well, I think it's a habit. It's hard to break.
I know that this year she was... It's hard because Sam is usually always up for this award, isn't he? It has been since he's joined, but we've hardly seen any Sam this year. I think he's still underneath a desk somewhere hiding.
Aww.
But Hope we've seen a little bit more, most recently in the story where she was getting trolled with those text messages from Ruby.
Ruby!
Naughty
That
Ruby.
cow.
And then we also had little bits with her where she's was a bit of a prankmeister herself, wasn't she? Like, do you remember when she was throwing the water balloons at Sally and Tim over the fence that one time? And I think that
she also she went through that phase of pranks, and we were wondering where's the story going. I don't know if it went anywhere.
Didn't go too far. I think this has been a bit of a Hope light year, but as if you compare to the other characters here, I suppose alongside Liam, she's been a bit of a long-termer. Hope, Bella, who plays Hope, has shown she's kind of grown up. She's proved that she can really hold her own as a character, and I think give her a few years' time when she can start to become more of a proper regular.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to really go down the villain route with her and then bump her off. I don't know. I think that she is definitely one to watch out for. I think she's absolutely cracking. Love Hope. And yeah, I mentioned Liam earlier. Again, really a favourite from the last few years, really, with the knife crime storyline, but that kind of fizzled out, I suppose, towards the beginning of this year. What have we seen from Liam this year? Well, we've seen him getting locked in a cupboard in the builder's yard, haven't we?
Yeah,
We've seen him most recently. It was him that had the drone footage of Carl, wasn't it? So maybe there's a little bit more to come of Liam there. And then obviously with him, with the scenes when Gary went missing after the whole, him being attacked by Lou, Liam was there as.
Poor Liam.
Doing some good old sad acting. Again, it's been a Liam light year. It's really, really tricky actually coming up with nominations for this one. We haven't had that many real kid-dominated storylines. So it's really going to go down to whichever kid tickles your fancy, whichever one just makes you go, they are a rising star.
These are all just very tragic children, aren't they? There's no here's a happy kid.
Millie?
Millie's sad as well, isn't she? I mean, she's about to graduate out of this category. But she is, to remind everybody, Theo's daughter who pretended to be pregnant. And
that was great. The moment when we see her looking at the fake pregnancy bumps online, that was a real fun little twist.
Yeah, and just trying to manipulate the situation and you could totally sympathise with her too, because she just wanted her dad back. And but she also clashed really a lot with Todd, and those scenes were great because Todd was sort of trying to win Theo, and you can't compete with somebody's kids. Well, I'd hope you couldn't when it comes to their affections, and so Todd was in a really difficult position because Millie was also very manipulative and lied quite a lot, and obviously she got that from her dad. For sure, yeah. Well, Caitlin, who plays her, I was really, really impressed with, and I always felt like we needed a little bit more of her on the street. So it was nice when she moved in with Todd and Theo, because we get to see more of her and her manipulative side. But she's had a difficult upbringing. Well, I suppose her life felt pretty much perfect up until recently, but it was torn apart. Well, we don't know
when Theo and when it all came out and he left Danielle earlier this year. But I've really, really enjoyed her performance actually, and I would hope that there might be a place for her as a more of a long-termer. But who knows? Who can say? Who can really say? Exactly. I wouldn't want to. So there are nominees for the Our Kid Award. Bit of a tricky one this year. Right Laugh Award is next. Gemma, what is the Right Laugh Award all about? It's for the funniest character, isn't it? Of course it is. And Coronation Street is making good on Kate Brooks' promise to introduce a bit more lightheartedness to the streets. A little more. So many funny things have happened. It's still been pretty dark, hasn't it? It's still been pretty miserable, but there have been some shining lights bursting out of this. I'd say that Coronation Street's humour really rests in characters rather than situations. And
you know, when you've got characters like these, it feels pretty easy to forgive that approach because
a lot of it comes with the actors and actresses there, isn't it?
So Christina Boyd is our first nominee. We've also got Glenda Shuttleworth, we've got Debbie Webster, we've got Bernie Winter, and we've got David Platt. Now, a lot of these characters aren't making like laugh out loud moments. I don't think that any of these are going to be in any of the things, the times we've laughed. I'm not sure how many of them are going to end up in clip shows.
No.
But there's something about all these characters that have this kind of spark of humour and light and joy. And
it's the campness. It's the classic
really
Corrie campness that all of these bring to some extent.
It's definitely a style of humour that we do really well in this country. And I don't know that Corrie's ever been so heavily focused on that style of humour. I think there's been lots of other, Mary and Kirk, they're not camp.
No, they're not camp. And I think that's what I like about these nominees that we've got
Mary
here.
and Kirk are not on the list.
Yeah, we don't have anyone that I would say they're the comedy character.
Yeah, they're
the
trying
comic
to make
relief.
them the funny one.
All of these are comic relief, but they're not. They're so much more than this. So Christina, in her perfectly campy takedown of Jenny earlier this year, I love Jenny, but in some parts I was well on Team Christina just because of how charming and fun she was, and I think in the right in many ways as well. And she's brought a real joy to the relationship with George, as we were talking about earlier. She's just got a real fun presence about her.
Joie de vivre.
Exactly.
All of these characters, I think, apart from David, have that.
Yeah.
I mean, these female characters are very similar in many ways, but also individual.
How will we vote between them?
So we've also got Glenda, who is just... I still think that maybe one of my favourite moments of the whole year is when she was doing karaoke and she was just there going, choo-choo, choo-choo.
Glenda in charge of the Rovers was a really lovely couple of months. Getting all that karaoke out of her, and then maybe she couldn't
finally
have
getting
stuck
our money's worth for Jodie Prenger.
Yeah, we could. She's so fun. And some of the looks that she gives from behind the bar, and the reactions to
saucy,
things,
funny, cheeky,
and not a snifter of that horrible fallout that she had with George the other year.
We don't want
over
angst.
the will. We don't want that. We just want fun and frolics, and Glenda has got that in spades. I really, really love her, and I think that she has been used well this year.
Yeah. We've also got Debbie. I mean, we've spoken about Debbie. She's nominated for Best Lass, so I think our feelings for her are pretty clear. Is she your favourite funny character, though?
I think that the dialogue that they gave her, the turn of phrase that she says, she's just like, a bitsy bobsies, and she's a real fun one to write for. And the other week when she had a trolley incident and she got pushed into the police car and she's like, oh, Ecky Thump.
Yeah.
All of this kind of stuff. She's just not a joke teller, but none of these are. But I think the joy and vivaciousness that the character brings just make you want to smile.
Yeah.
And laugh. And then you got Bernie. She's had a few more of the serious storylines as well, hasn't she? I suppose Debbie has.
Yeah.
But as a fun kind of hippie-ish, and is she sometimes she's the straight man to Deb, and sometimes they're both kind of fun together,
goofy.
Aren't they? Goofy together, yeah.
Yeah, and they don't really give her too many flights of fancy or just starting banging on about crystals, but I think that she is quirky and different, and she brings a different kind of perspective to things, because there's not a lot of hippies on the street, are there?
Not too many, not so many.
So I love her.
And David, he's always there, isn't he?
What a slogan, David. He's always there.
The Right Laugh hasn't been going as long as the awards themselves are, but it feels like most years that we've had the Right Laugh, David has probably been there just for his brand of dry, sardonic, sarcastic sort of humour, and the remarks, the raised eyebrows, sometimes the campy tone of voice that he puts on.
It feels sometimes like David is watching the show along with us and going, "This is nuts."
Yeah, it is.
Happening. And also, I've got to give him a big round of applause for the hilarious petty nature of his feud with Carla and Lisa.
Yeah.
With the bins and the recycling and...
which he was totally in the wrong for.
I know, that was what made it funny. Like how bitchy he was getting and how what a great character.
I liked it when he got stuck in the lift and we didn't get to see any of it, but he was talking about somebody was farting in there and he was the only one in there. It's just little, like, they'll get him to say anything and he'll make it work. David has been a continual comedy presence on Coronation Street for the past 20 years or so, and I can't see it stopping anytime soon. Even when he has had, a pretty dark year. His house has burned down. His son's been sent to prison. His wife has got some issues with her pregnancy, but the fact that he can still raise a laugh throughout all this really is testament to the writing and Jack P. Shepherd's performance. So this is a really tough category, actually. This is another one I do not know who I'm going to be voting for.
I know, these are really hard. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Choices.
Sometimes it takes me so long to do this because I'm just staring at the options going, I really don't know. Because obviously it's us that picks the nominees. And so you're not going to be on the list unless we think you
deserve a place there, yeah. Hello, love. Let's go on to our next category.
Best new couple.
Best new couple.
Listen to the word.
New couple.
New. It's the best new
They've got
couple.
to have got together in 2025
Yep.
to go up for nomination here. So don't you come at us, Swyler fans. They won last year. Who have we got that have whose lips have touched for the first time in the last 12 months, Gemma?
Well, we've got Dee Dee Bailey and Ollie Driscoll. We've got Eva Price and Ben Driscoll, which does count because...
Oh, yeah, 100%. They come in as a couple.
Yeah,
we didn't see them
couple.
get together.
Christina and George. Abby and Carl. And Sarah and Kit.
See, I was almost going for Mick and Lou as a possible nomination here, but, although they were kind of fun out and about in the Rovers and a bit annoying as well, behind closed doors, what was going on between them, it's like, maybe not. Same with Theo and Todd. I think if you're voting for them as best couple, there's
I'm sorry, that's not acceptable.
Yeah, but all of these are in some way wholesome, I suppose. I mean, you could argue against Abby and Carl, I suppose. There.
Well, look, the least problematic of all, really, is Christina and George, because we love them. They're fantastic.
I think they're a strong choice.
I really love Christina helping George at the funeral parlour, but then kind of putting her foot down, going, I'm not going to work here. I'm just doing the cleaning.
It was funny because when the Jenny's leaving exit storyline was playing out and she was trying to come between them, I think a lot of viewers, us included, were saying, actually, are we supposed to be fighting for Jenny here? Because I think that George and Christina have really got something going here.
They worked so well.
When it was kind of announced around that time that A.B. Robbins would be being taken on as a permanent character, I think everybody gave a collective cheer there because this is a couple that just work so well together. The actors first worked together, 2 decades or so ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they've really got a fantastic chemistry there.
They really do. They work so well, and I just love that. George is this kind of like humble, kind, funny, patient, like salt of the earth kind of guy, and then you've got the exotic, glamorous Christina, who's
also
still smitten with him.
Yeah, but somebody who has been very devious and shown herself to be uncaring about even her own daughter in the past, and I think George brings out the best in her.
I think we're supposed to just forget about that bit.
Nah, it's fine. We can't forget anything.
I can.
Eva and Ben. A really solid, believable couple right from that first episode when they came in at the end of October. I totally bought their relationship. I get that they like a bit of romance, a little bit of passion together.
I like the fact that there's this tension because of Mama Driscoll and Ben not standing up for Eva really, or protecting her from his evil mum.
But I still think, they've got a lot going for them.
Yeah.
I absolutely buy them as a couple and how this problematic addition of Maggie to the relationship makes things difficult for Ben because he does want to be a good partner to Eva.
Well, he wants to be a good son as well. And I think that conflict is interesting, and a couple's not going to really have a story unless there's some kind of conflict. So
we've also seen their parenting styles when it's come to Will. And I think that they are definitely a couple to watch for 2026. But definitely had to be nominated this year. Dee
Well,
Bailey,
the landlord and landlady of the Rovers.
exactly. Dee Bailey and Ollie Driscoll. He finally got a surname at the end of October when the Driscolls made their full arrival on the street.
Since their arrival, he's definitely also gained more of a personality. We learn a bit more about him and what he's about, and I think he's got a bit of I can't remember. Is he the oldest child or is he the middle one? I don't know how old his brother is.
There's only 2 children.
Oh, of course. And then you got Susie. So yeah, he does seem like maybe he's been forgotten a little bit because of the younger children are a bit more of a handful.
But I think if you want something just
a little bit... I
was
confusing Ollie with Ben and Finley.
I think if you want... I was going to say an uncomplicated relationship, but I mean they just split up recently because Dee wants to go to Singapore. So sadly, unless he goes along with her, this relationship is fairly doomed at this point.
But maybe you'd like to vote for them if you if you think that Dee needed a nice, unproblematic boyfriend who could cook.
Yes, exactly.
Who wouldn't want that?
Right. Abby and Carl,
passion.
I'm not going to vote for them. I'm going to tell you that now for this one.
You're not supposed to.
Because I hate them. I don't know we're supposed to be impartial, but, everybody knows I've made my feelings about this relationship very, very clear throughout the last 12 months. Glad that they're, hopefully, going to have an imminent breakup. And you've got to. They can't stay together. They can't, can they?
Oh, really?
He's got this secret with James, hasn't he, that I think that she's not going to be too happy about. Or when she finds out that he's been knocking off old Debbie. Stealing from her.
Knocking her off?
That's not... Is that... Not knocking up.
No, not at all. Not knocking her up, definitely.
But, you can't deny the passion that they've shown.
Oh, definitely.
There's been lots of saucy, snoggy scenes in the number 13 and at the garage.
I know
and
you
in
don't
that
like
hotel room.
But they definitely have chemistry as an on-screen couple.
Yeah.
I think they probably have the best sexual chemistry of anybody in this list.
Just having a look. Maybe.
They really do. The scenes that they had before they got together officially, I have never seen anybody act that well of I really what's the word?
I want to tear your clothes off.
Yeah. So really hats off to those two for making such an unpleasant pairing look like a sexy time, I guess.
Yeah. You vote for them if you want to, listeners. But I won't be joining you there. I mean,
having a couple like that is just as much a part of soaps as having people that just are together, and
I know.
so that they can share a set, really.
Yeah.
I think that at least they have a story of their relationship.
This is true. Out of all our nominees this year, this has been the one that, the couple that have got a story behind them. So if that could be a really good reason to vote for them, to be honest. If you're saying, well, I like that story, or I know I understand them as a couple a lot more than all those other ones. That's a totally viable reason for voting, to be honest.
Now, Sarah and Kit. Now, I'm gonna take a wild guess that you're not gonna vote for these two either because you don't like Kit. I couldn't
possibly say.
Kit, I think, is another one of these characters that a lot of people really don't like, but I think he's brilliant. I love him, and this is a really interesting...
You're not alone in that.
...relationship here because he is such... He could go either way. He could be a villain or a goodie. We really don't know where his story's going to end or where he's going to get to or what he's going to get up to. At the moment, he is trying to bring down evil Becky Swain, but only for his own selfish reasons. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that he's with Sarah, who seems like a bit... she's a very beautiful idiot. And she's very unlucky in love as well. And her previous partner, Adam, is probably one of the most boring characters in Coronation Street. So the fact that she's with somebody who is actually exciting and interesting and does stuff, I think is really great for her. Now, whether, I'm not saying that Adam's a bad character. I'm just saying he's not had anything interesting to do. And I think that Sam Robertson... really hasn't been served that well with that character.
No, he's not been blessed in terms of storylines.
When I call a character boring, it's never a criticism of the actor. It's always like the storylines that just don't exist. So at least Sarah's with somebody who has got a story, and Kit is also, it's very sweet because he's a reluctant, to move forward in this relationship, a bit cautious.
He was all for kind of ending it just recently, wasn't he?
And he didn't want to move in with her.
He didn't like the whole commitment thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a realistic, young, ambitious guy who doesn't really want to be saddled with a bunch of commitment. And so I think that they're really interesting. I don't know where they're going to go again. So that's there's definitely two types of relationships on Corrie. There's this is a story about this relationship and they're going to have ups and downs, and then there's the cozy comfy, these two actors work really well and we love them together. Like Roy and Hayley were a really great example of that, where you just love that they're together. You don't need them to do anything really.
Yeah.
And so who are you going to vote for? Because there's those different types in that category for you. Ecky Thump.
Ecky Thump Awards is next. This is our best scuffle of the year. So whether it was a fight, a slap, or anything in between, if it got a little bit physical, you are potentially up for nomination in this category.
The thing that we always come up against every year is that quite often there's a bit of a scrap at Christmas. And we always want to include it because they're usually one of the bests of the year. So the first nominee on this list is actually from Christmas of last year, because we always cut off our awards in the middle of December, which we have done now. So the first nominee is Toyah and Leanne's Festive Fisticuffs, and I absolutely love this.
In the bistro at Gail's wedding.
Yeah, throwing stuff, getting arrested by Craig.
Yeah, biting Craig as well.
Yeah.
He ended up with, he had to go for a rabies shot after that. She was throwing they were full on, the culmination of this massive storyline that they'd had last year, where Toyah stole Leanne's man, and it had just been bubbling up there, this resentment, lingering hatred between these two sisters. And Leanne is not a person who you want to get on the bad side of, but the Battersbys were brought in as a very kind of scrappy, chavvy sort of family, weren't they?
Yeah, it was nice to see them remember where they came from.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, so often, especially Toyah, she seems so very straight-laced and, can be a little bit dull, buttoned up, exactly. But this, she was, it was full-on proper Battersby, fisticuffs, like you said, and a really fun element to a great Christmas Day episode last year. Something that I wanted to say about this category as well, we've tried not to include things that have been a little bit too dark, or have led to people's deaths or anything like that.
It's not really a funny Ecky Thump, is it? If you die.
I mean, there's actually been quite a lot this year. Some years we've been through it, and I've really struggled for nominations, but we had absolutely tons on our long list here.
Every single time somebody has a fight or slaps somebody, we write it down. So some years the nominees would just be somebody slaps somebody, but I think all of these are proper fights.
Yeah, these have got a proper physical.
And I also think that if you want to stick it to the men, you might want to vote for Toyah and Leanne, because the rest of these are all.
Well, do you want
blokes.
to quickly run down the other nominations, and then because we've talked already quite a lot about Toyah and Leanne.
Sorry,
and we don't even know who else there is.
Mick and Kit scrap on the factory roof. Gary and Mick's rumble on the street. Todd wrestling with Noah in the community centre, and Matty taking Mandy and Bobby hostage at the prison.
So do you want to pick one of those and give a little bit of your reminiscence?
I think I quite enjoyed Matty taking Mandy and Bobby hostage at the prison, because poor old Bobby was not having a great time.
He did get his head slammed on the table.
Very dramatic, and obviously it was a bit of a ruse as well. And we found out that Mandy was actually
having it off with Rob.
Corrupt.
Yeah.
And it was a plot. But a hostage at the prison, I mean, why not have that next the hospital? Maybe let's include all of Corrie's favourite
hostage for taking
places.
Potential spots. Yeah. Definitely a memorable one from the beginning of the year. I really enjoyed Mick and Kit's fight on the factory roof. So this is the big episode where Mick escapes from prison and then he goes into Underworld, and they just get really kind of brawly with each other down in the underworld, and then they take it upstairs and they're chasing each other up the ladder, getting a few punches and slamming each other around. Yeah, Kit ends up getting stabbed, and it also hurts his knee. If you remember, that's why he ended up on crutches for a little bit. Nothing at all to do with what was going on off screen.
No.
But yeah, that was a proper full-on two blokes full of testosterone just knocking seven bells out of each other. Really, really entertaining fight that one was. Similar to Mick's other nomination here, which is when he had a bit of a scrap with Gary.
Yeah, he was such a great character, really. He wasn't in it for very long, but we didn't put him having a fight with Craig in because he killed him.
Yes.
And that's not fun.
Well, it was more of just a one knock and he was down, wasn't it?
It's not hilarious.
But yeah, he had a good old fight with Gary, who is also no stranger to fisticuffs.
Yeah.
That was just outside of the bistro. And just ending up having a good old punch up and brawl.
Slugfest.
If you're struggling to remember some of these fights, or if you want to compare them, if you go onto our voting form, I have put hyperlinks to video clips of all of these, because I think it's easier for characters and to judge them over the year to say, yeah, I remember what that was about for 2025. But if they're particular moments,
watch it again.
Watch it again, and then you can.
Sometimes you'll surprise yourself actually, because I think I thought I had opinions of things that I remembered, and then when we watched them back, I was like, oh, it wasn't actually that good.
Yeah, it was over before you know it. But this was a good one. And Todd wrestling with Noah in the community centre. So this is after he came in and found Noah
doing
a bit of a conversion session, wasn't he? I think he thought that it was that Theo was there at one point, didn't he? But yeah, he kind of grabs him in a headlock and slams him down onto the
I think a lot of people wanted this to happen because Noah was so infuriating and smug and
this knocked the smile right off his face.
And of course that that there were going to be consequences and it was going to cause a lot of chaos for Todd, but in the moment it was go on.
Yeah, I mean, just recently, earlier this week, Todd was involved in quite a few scuffles with Theo in the caught on camera behind closed doors episode, but those are a little bit too serious for this award. No. So it's nice that we've got a couple of classic soap rumbles that we can nominate this year in the Eki Thump Award.
So how many more categories have you got left?
We've still got like 3 categories left.
Oh, exciting.
I know, we're nearly there. Up next is the Terrar Award, which is what we give to our best exit. And, we were spoiled for choice for exits this year. There was an exodus from Coronation Street.
And some people got really good exit storylines, but not everybody did. And when you look at the number of people who left this year, you can totally understand why. So I'll run down quickly. Who is nominated: Mason Radcliffe, Daisy Midgley, Jenny Connor, Craig Tinker, and Gail Platt.
So not even one from 2025 there. We got a late 2024 exit for Gail, like the fight, missed out on a nomination last year, but it was a really kind of homely, pleasant, happy ending for Gail.
Wholesome.
It was wholesome.
Got married.
And you might include Richard Hillman appearing to her in a dream as part of this exit as well. But really, the wedding, the clips from everybody that were playing saying how lovely Gail is. David's best man speech was so heartfelt. You got a bit of a goodbye from Eileen as well, I think. And she just, drives off into the sunset. Very wholesome.
A really nice way for Coronation Street to say goodbye to this character and this actress.
Yeah, who'd been such a major part of the show for the past 50 years.
Not quite as fun was Craig being bludgeoned to death.
Yeah,
by Mick.
That was all over. So there was the chase through Weatherfield, wasn't there? And that got a bit of a location shoot as well, actually. But they ended up, of course, back at the precinct where, after a little bit of an argument over whether to call it a van or a vehicle, Mick gets wound up just a tad too much and clocks him round the head with a baseball bat.
Rude.
Yeah, very rude. Definitely shocking. And for a character as beloved and innocent as poor Craigie, a really gut-wrenching exit for him.
I know, really, actually, the word sickening, it put a cold pit in your stomach to see this poor guy who really was just trying to do his best. And he was beloved, I think that he was a nice guy. And to see him be murdered at his job by a thug.
I don't think, Craig wasn't an exciting character, and he was a character that people would take the mick out of, and he became a bit of a figure of fun. But we're still protective over, those little innocents. And to see a character so beloved go out in such a horrific way was really quite a shock. And it wasn't even here that he died, because he had the hospital scenes, doesn't he? And he's there on the bed and Kirk's there crying all over him. It was a bit like Tina, you think that she died outside. And the moment, do you remember when he kind of wakes up and he's just looking in utter shock seconds before he passes away?
That was really horrible.
Tough stuff.
That was really horrible because a little tiny bit of me was hoping, because we knew that Carson Smith was leaving. Everyone did. A little tiny part of me was thinking, oh, please just let him wake up and go, I'm sod this, I'm going to live with my mum.
Yeah.
But no.
No, sadly not. I mean, similarly to Mason, another really violent death for the start of 2025. I think this is in, the second week of the year? Maybe even the first week. We knew that there was going to be a special knife crime episode. I think there were rumours going around that Mason was on his way out, but I don't think... Well, I knew it hadn't been confirmed that he would end up losing his life in this episode, although lots of people were expecting it and half expecting it when we went into it. But as taking an issue storyline that they've been running with for quite a while, the knife crime story, and having it conclude in such a brutal manner, it was so well done. And that was the first of many special, in inverted commas, episodes that Kate Brooks brought to us this year.
I mean, this was really spectacular because of the sliding doors concept of what could have been if only his brothers had not had this knife. And
it was Liam that brought the knife.
Well,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
but they had it, didn't they?
Yeah, they were the ones that did the stabby.
Yeah, just a really great concept, and a really good way of addressing the issue that Coronation Street wanted to tackle, which is the knife crime, and because you got to see what would have happened.
I think you're right. The
really
sliding
sad.
doors things really does make this one stand out, because I was just so confused. I remember being like, what's going on here? Is he okay? He seems to be all right. And now he's going around Weatherfield talking to Betsy and others, and he seems fine. And then when he gets into that taxi... And Abby's there driving it, and then she looks down at what's going on, and he's
sad.
bleeding, and then he wakes up in the precinct, and it's that no, this is what's really happened.
It's like a movie.
It really was.
Really
That was a really fantastic and probably long time memorable death. Much better than a taxi exit than some characters
Nearly
get.
got a taxi exit.
But he did. But I tell you what, sometimes taxi exits can be spectacular and brilliant. And Daisy Midgley's, again, this is a really, really tough category. Like, do I go for the brutal, shocking, horrific deaths, or do I go for the fact that Daisy's exit was as close to perfect as you can get for somebody jetting into the sunshine? I think the last time we had anybody do this quite so well was Becky. And Daisy, just... Because, again, we knew it was coming. Didn't know how it was going to come. Like, is she going to go off with Christina with the stolen money?
Yeah, just manipulating.
Yeah.
And double-crossing everybody.
But we didn't know she double-crossed.
No, I know.
Until the last minute. And you got this excellent string of scenes where there's some music playing in the background and various people are receiving money from Daisy. And it slowly starts to dawn on you. Oh, this is what's happened. So, like, Julie get a little bit of money for charity,
Daniel
didn't she?
Never took Bertie to Disney.
He might have done. He's not
what?
had that many appearances this year.
I'm going to say, I think Bertie might be dead.
Do you reckon?
Have you seen him?
I
Recently?
I loved the voiceovers that Daisy did. Like, when she was... and everyone was reading her letters, and Daniels was like... you have breakfast and say hello to Mickey Mouse, you too, Bertie, or whatever the line was. I can't remember. And Charlotte Jordan delivered the lines just so perfectly, and then you get Jenny who's reading these lines and just breaking down into tears because this daughter who she loved, has kind of double-crossed a little bit with the money as well, is now done the same to her. It was gut-wrenching. And then you get, as the music swells, the scene where she's in the back of the taxi driving down, and they go to the stop sign, don't they, where there's some roadworks. And she puts on like sunglasses and the music's swelling and she's like, oh, turn it up. And then the stop sign turns to go and she drives. It was absolutely brilliant. For a low-key exit, what a triumph that one was. I think everybody involved, big round of applause for you there. And then the last we have Jenny. Sad, the most tragic in terms of what a loss to the show Talia Matthews is this year. And, we knew about the fact that she was leaving a jolly long time ago. And we were thinking, how are they going to do it? But they still had, a bit of a story, not a long one. And it definitely felt like It was a quick exit in terms of, you know,
in the grand scheme of things.
in the grand scheme of things, she wakes up on that day with no plans to fly off to Bali. No, was it Bali? No, Daisy went to Bali.
Tenerife.
She went to Tenerife, didn't she? By the end of the day, she was there. But the lovely moments with Rita, if you want something kind of low key and pleasant, that's Jenny's exit really could be a one to go for, because Sal spoke to us about how much she enjoyed that exit, and those scenes with Barbara were lovely.
If you were going to tie up the story of Jenny in one episode, that was as good of a story as you could have done.
Yeah.
So
the scenes outside the Rovers with Rita, when she goes inside the pub and Rita's there, kind of raises a glass to her. She
leaving the licensee plate.
Yeah, and declaring that the next place that she runs, she's going to be doing it as Jenny Bradley, and that was a little bit of a kind of a shiver moment, wasn't it? It's like, oh, Jenny Bradley is back. She's
back, but she's gone.
Yeah, and walking towards the camera, a really triumphant exit as well there. So we've got.
And she didn't go in a taxi.
She didn't go in it. Well,
she went in a tram.
She probably went in a tram, didn't she?
Yeah, but I like that she didn't go in a taxi.
And we liked how her costume mirrored what she was wearing on her comeback 10 years previously.
A nice tribute, really nice tribute.
Really was. That was a lovely tribute to Jenny. I did really enjoy that exit. There are some really, really strong contenders. I've got no clue how anyone can pick. But you've got to. It's the law. You've got to pick one. Don't vote more than once. Well, you can if you want, I suppose.
No, don't.
I'm not going to stop you. By Ek, Gemma, we're on to our penultimate award, and this is for the best surprise twist of 2025.
Right, go and explain what in your mind.
Okay.
Because you're the one who's come up with.
Oh gosh, this is so hard. So, By Ek Award, a bit like the Garraway Award, is my attempt to
promote good behaviour.
Promote good behaviour among Coronation Street and raise awareness, to use a soap term, of the fact that we like it when something happens that we haven't seen coming because you haven't spoiled it. Coronation Street has, over the years, gone up and down with how much they do that. We know that Kate Oates, the producer, was more of a fan of it. Kate Brooks has not been too bad with it. But there's also been a lot of leaks as well. And if something was leaked by the press, or heavily rumoured by the press, it still is counting in this, even though lots of people went into the episode expecting it, because it is so rare now for something completely out of the blue to happen on Coronation Street and manage to avoid those horrible leakers in the Sun. I'm going to call out that specific publication there. But there's been some great moments, and some you expected to possibly happen. And let's run down the nominations. Gemma, do you want to run down who we've got here?
Carl two-timing Abby with James. Mm-hmm. Richard Hillman returns to haunt Gail's dreams on Christmas Day last year. Becky is alive. Tyrone gets hit by a car. And Mason is killed by his brothers. So
all of these, I think there was a good proportion of the audience that was shocked by them. I think in terms of social media reaction and surprise, I think probably the Carl and James one was the biggest twist.
I know.
And it's not anything that many people saw coming. Nobody, when there's an exit, that's the sort of thing that was much more likely to leak. But just the fact that Carl has been having it off with James behind Abby's back. Nobody had that on their bingo card, did they?
No, and it was really shocking.
It really, really was. And
what a dog.
And how they revealed it when he's in his room and we think that Abby's in there with her, and then kind of the camera pans around and hang on a minute, that's James in the bed. Big surprise.
Yeah, brilliant.
I still think that there's more to come from that. I don't think we've heard the last of that relationship. Well done, Corey, for keeping that one completely under your hat. The Richard Hillman return, again, Corey didn't say it was happening before he appeared on screen last Christmas. And I so wish, above anything else here, that hadn't been leaked to the press. But he did go into the episode. I think it was the end of the Christmas Eve episode, is when she falls asleep, and then you get this "Hello, Gail." Just imagine us not having known that.
I know, it's such a shame, but it's a very, very good twist.
Yeah, and not just the fact that he was back, but the fact that he was all wet and covered in pondweed
silly.
and he's doing all his dancing with Gail, and there's like got the disco ball to get that dreamy feel, and they got the pillows with their husbands on. It was really
really
very
funny.
uncanny, and really, really well done. And what a great tribute to, again, Gail's 50 years, because that's her most memorable storyline, isn't it? So a fun way to bring it back, and not even the first of many ghosts that we've seen in Kate Brooks' era, to be fair. But
there aren't any more ghosts on this list.
I think we have...
apart from Becky.
Yeah. We have eased off on the number of spectral appearances, haven't we, in the past 6 months or so? But
it's just our old hat now.
We'd had Joel earlier this year. We had Seb. We had Paul last year as well. But
I'm surprised Julie hasn't turned up.
Oh yeah, Julie could come and haunt.
Well, who's she going to haunt? Oh, Theo.
Yeah, Theo for sure.
Talking of haunting, Becky, the goat from Beyond the Grave, the dead wife, the spiky haired spectre at the feast.
That was something that, again, I think going into the episode, we definitely didn't know was going to happen. But it
was like
we had been theorising it for a good few months. What if Becky is still alive?
Becky's alive!
And a little bit like, the classic one we always refer to as Ollie in the basement of Phelan. It's one of these things that you're like, no, they wouldn't do that, would they? That would be far too delicious and chaotic to actually happen. But they did. And having Lisa there on her own in number 6, turning round, seeing Becky, brilliant gasp, dropping really the wine glass, and then there's Becky, a supposed dead wife. Say what you like about how the story has progressed since then, and some people have loved it, some people have absolutely hated it and despised it and renounced Coronation Street, but that moment when it was revealed that she's still alive and kicking really was a memorable high point of Coronation Street in 2025. So that is the moment we're voting for, not the story. Mason being killed by his brothers, we kind of touched on already this episode in the death. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen, how it was going to pan out. We didn't go into the episode knowing for 100% sure that he was going to die, but everything that we've said about his nomination for Terrar stands again for this one. Real loss to the show, actually, because they just started to turn this character around. And
the reason why it's such a great twist too is that not only did we not know going in, but when you're watching the episode, when he's going through his, the life he could have had, we don't know what's happening. It's not until Abby's in the taxi that we realise he's been dead the whole time.
Tricked us, Coronation Street.
Really, honestly, what a masterful twist.
And finally, Tyrone getting hit by a car. This was really cleverly done, because the promo material for it all showed the car coming behind Betsy, didn't it?
Yeah.
It had her on her phone there in the precinct, and we're like, oh no, Betsy's going to get run over by a car, and it's going to be all put down to Becky's going to be involved in it or something, or it's going to bring Becky and Lisa closer together. But we hear that there's been an accident, and then you see Lisa arriving, I think it was, I'm just trying to remember now, at the precinct, and the camera kind of pans over, and it's like, it's Tyrone, who didn't even know he was there. There had been nothing in the press beforehand, as far as I know, about the fact that Tyrone was going to end up in a wheelchair, which has become a big story for him in the past few months. But that was a classic, old school, bit of a low key, but still, nonetheless shocking twist that definitely people didn't see coming. So a worthy contender for the Bayek Award this year, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Finally, Gemma, the big one. That's Champion, is what we call our Best Storyline of the Year award. And it really all boils down to this. So we have got 5 very worthy nominees here. Gemma, what have we got?
We've got Carla and Lisa's ups and downs.
I mean, yeah.
It was really hard to know what to call this.
It feels like this year the Carla and Lisa shenanigans have certainly been a highlight for many people, but they've had stories about kidneys.
I thought we were going to go through the list.
Okay, go on.
Theo's coercive control of Todd, Mason's death and its aftermath, Debbie is diagnosed with dementia and Abby and Carl's affair.
Right.
So go on.
So Carla and Lisa, they've had the stuff with Rob. They've had moving into their flat. Obviously, the Becky return.
Getting engaged.
Getting engaged, and the will they, won't they of that. This year has been the year of Lisa and Carla. And although you can't necessarily put a finger on what, which bit of it has been the start of the one story and the end of the other one, we've kind of copped out a little bit and just gone for just the whole shebang of Swala in 2025 is the nomination for this category. Because if we went for the Becky thing, then I didn't think it would really have a fair shot, because lots of people haven't enjoyed that element of it.
I'm going to say, if you're a Swala fan or not, you can recognise that Swala's storyline was its own thing.
Yeah. It's had a life of its own this year.
And I think that, they really have dominated the show with all of their, like, the relationship developing, and it's been hugely popular, and it's been a love story that's been quite beautiful to watch. I mean, the engagement scene was really lovely. The bit where Carla's trying to ask Lisa to marry her, and it not working out.
Oh, with the ring and the champagne.
Yeah. And like even that bit where Glenda's like bringing the champagne out, and Carla's like, no.
Yeah.
There's been so many really sweet moments, and seeing Carla also really vulnerable and navigating a new experience, being in a relationship with another woman, has been amazing to watch. And just Lisa also coming out of her shell and learning to love again after the death of her wife, and then only to have that person return and cause chaos in her life, and her really struggling to make sense of what's happening, and not realising that she is being manipulated by Becky. It's been really fascinating, and a big, massive part of Coronation Street in 2025.
Yeah, as has Theo and Todd's story, which started off as a real slow burner. As, like we said earlier when we were talking about his nomination in the Wrongest Award, you just kind of got the feeling, very much like Jeff, that there was just something not quite right about this chat when he came into it. We're like, what's the story going on here? Is this a story just about Todd finally meeting a man after so long being an unlucky single, or are we leading into something that's a little bit Yasmin and Jeffy? And as the months went by, it became clear that yes, it is going down that route. And I think although there are definitely clear similarities between them, I think they've done enough to distinguish it between what we saw 5 years ago for Jeff and Yasmin. And the seeing Todd turn from the sort of confident, cocky sort of character that he was at the beginning of the year and has been for many years now, to being the quivering
shadow of his former self.
Shadow of his former self,
just
exactly.
Losing his confidence and his swagger, and never knowing where he stands, and just desperately hoping that he can make Theo love him.
Yeah, and there's been lots
trying to work out what the behaviour is he needs to do to get that result.
Lots of memorable moments in this storyline as well, mostly involving Theo just being an absolute git to Todd. Forcing him to eat a kebab. Anything that's happened in Monday's episode, pouring the milk over him. Just making him feel like he's worse than something he scraped off his shoe, and then love bombing him the next minute. I found it really quite engaging, and it's only got better for me as the year has gone on. Mason's death and his aftermath was very much a story for the beginning of the year, but it's still absolutely viable for a nomination here. It's already got some nominations in the big award shows, hasn't it? And I think won some as well. But everything involving the knife crime story, and the aftermath, which mostly focus on Abby and her struggles and her PTSD and the hauntings of Seb, it has really showed Sally Carman to be one of Coronation Street's best actresses. And it taught us a lesson about knife crime without coming across as overly preachy, and I think they did such a super job of making Mason a likeable character, someone who had been so foul in the previous year, and they could have really flubbed it had we not felt something for him before the death episode, and obviously that also kind of led into what happened with Matty and Logan, and it tied into the Swala storyline a little bit as well. But I think for that's a really solid choice, actually.
Debbie's story has really brought her to the forefront of the show because she, like we've mentioned previously, she was very much treated as a side character for years, and unfortunately it's taken a dementia diagnosis to put her at the centre of the action, but she's just been such a fantastic character, and it really shows how incredible Sue Devaney is, because she can pull on your heartstrings. Like the scene, you mentioned before where she was diagnosed and her various struggles, and when she's cried, and
I remember the scene when she just after her diagnosis and she's sitting in the car in the hospital, and then another woman who was a lot further along with dementia came and kind of really put the frighteners at Debbie and thinking, oh, this is going to be me at some point. And we've seen her really battle with coming to terms with it and saying, I'm not ready to go, this isn't fair, all that kind of stuff. But as we are at the moment, she's still very much Debbie Webster, and she's fighting to stay the Debbie that we love for as long as possible. Yeah,
she's such a fantastic character, so it's just been great to have more Debbie, and we wouldn't have had it if it hadn't been for this story.
I know, lots of Corrie fans have not been happy that this is the route that they've gone for the character, but I've still seen a lot of those fans as well acknowledging when scenes and episodes focusing on this have been done very, very well. And I think a lot of people at the beginning of the year said, well, I don't want it, but I know that Sue Devaney is going to knock it out of the park, and she really, really has, and it's proven to have some of the best moments of 2025. And you know what? If this storyline doesn't win this year, it's going to be up for nomination again next year, isn't it?
Wow.
I mean, this is a shoo-in for a 2026 Conversation Street Award best champion
type.
Yeah, for sure. Next year it's going to be right up there. So maybe 2 years in a row. Finally, we got Abby and Carl's affair. I've made my feelings on this particular relationship clear, and it's hard because we wanted to. You might say, well, that's the same as the Debbie dementia storyline, and there has obviously been a lot of crossover in there, but I think there's enough going for it to make it its own thing, don't you?
Oh, it's definitely its own thing because it ties in with Kevin and them breaking up, and it has been its own thing. It's only really overlapped because it's similar characters, and that Carl is going to take advantage of Debbie's dementia, but he's only just managed to do that, and he would have done that whether he was having an affair with Abby or not.
Yeah, and you got the scenes of Abby trying to resist the affair because she wanted to be true to
and that
Kevin.
That was a long time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it wasn't until Kevin lied about being cancer free, which again, odd choice, Kevin. That
odd choice.
Abby took the plunge and let Carl take the plunge.
Oh no,
so to speak. And all this time later, it is still going, ploughing on ahead.
It is. Oh my god!
I'm not as euphemistic. Yeah,
it has been really fascinating because it was everything that Abby wanted, and then as soon as she got it, the shine started to fade a little bit, and we know that there's so much about Carl that she doesn't know yet, and so we're just waiting for this all to blow up, and how is she going to react? So it's still not over. And it has been a huge part of Coronation Street this year. Yeah,
absolutely. And I'm just waiting for it to explode and collapse, hopefully early in 2025. Right, that is it, everybody. Those are our nominees for the Conversation Street Awards 2025. So if you haven't stopped this podcast already and gone and voted, we do urge you to get onto our social media, get onto our blog, find the links and go and vote for your favourites now. And we offer no apologies for making it a very tricky set of categories to vote for.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way it is, isn't
it?
It's
been
Corrie's
a good year.
Great.
Good year of Corrie.
You got to really think. It's not like the other awards where sometimes Corrie's only 2 of 8 nominees. These are all Corrie. And this has been another, there's been great parts of this year. There's been parts of this year that we haven't enjoyed as much, but there are certainly enough really, really brilliant moments and characters and stories that it's going to be another probably hotly contested race, I'm going to say. So that's it from today's episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hope we've got you all fired up to go and vote. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. And ta-ra.